Guys, America finally did it. They finally attacked Iranian nuclear sites over this last weekend. We have so much to get into, not only the buildup, we have the strike itself, the details that we know so far, and the fallout. Where does this go from here? Does this escalate into regional war? Does this escalate into world war? As we speak, we have breaking news coming in just now, the beginning details of Iran's attack against America in response to our strikes over the weekend. Breaking news that Iran is launching missiles at Qatar, at Iraq. Trump is in the Situation Room in the White House as we speak, according to reports. I'm going to wait a little bit to get into the details that we know on that till a little bit later. I'm going to let some more of the details roll in. First, we'll go through America's strike that happened this last weekend, what we know so far. I want to begin with saying something bold, something that many would now say is controversial. And I'm an American, like I've said many times before. We're the Israel guys, not the Israeli guys. I'm not Israeli. I'm not Jewish. I'm an American speaking as an American here. My controversial statement is that terrorists should not hold nuclear weapons. I know that's controversial in America today. North Korea is significantly more difficult to deal with on the world stage now that they have nuclear weapons. Every single time we let a quote-unquote bad actor on the world stage develop nuclear weapons, it ties our hands and severely limits our ability to keep those bad actors in check. And we all know that Iran would be the same. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. They have killed hundreds of Americans over the last couple of years. They created Hezbollah. They propped up Assad. They created Hamas. They created the Houthis. And for them to own nukes is not a good thing for Israel. It's not a good thing for the Middle East. And it's not a good thing for us here in the United States of America. In America right now, I feel like in the general public at large, there is a little bit of a detachment from logic. You take a poll, and I've seen these polls put out on X. You take a poll, and the majority of the responses say that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, right? A lot of Americans agree that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. But then on the other hand, you take a poll and say, should America stop Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon? And also a majority of people in those polls will say that no, America should not stop Iran from having a nuclear weapon, even though we believe that it would be dangerous for them to have one. And that's a disconnect from logic, because if America is not willing to stand up and act on what we believe is an imminent threat to America and the world, then what are we willing to do? Also, I want to be super clear. It was not necessary for Israel's success in Iran for America to join the war. This is something I see all over the internet. A lot of people are falsely claiming that Israel asked America to get involved in Iran. They were begging America to come bomb the nuclear sites in Iran. And I want to be very clear. The Israeli government has been clear that they did not ask America to do this publicly. And they could have taken out Iran's nuclear sites independently. They had several plans in place that I won't get into here. Even though Israel did not have bunker-busting bombs, they could have done this on their own, even though it would have been much more difficult and much more complicated than what America did. I believe that America did this for America's sake. And I'll get into that here in a little bit, not necessarily for Israel's sake. To set a little bit of context here, a little bit of background, in 1979, when the current regime in Iran was created, one of the first things they did was to storm the American embassy in Iran and capture 52 Americans who were then held hostage for 444 days. Since then, Iran has continued to grow as a terrible actor on the world stage, threatening Israel, threatening a lot of other countries, and the United States as well. As you've probably heard, Iranians regularly in the government and outside of the government chant death to America all over Iran. There are dozens of videos to that effect that you can find all over the internet. President Bill Clinton said that Iran could not have nuclear weapons. The Bushes said that Iran could not have nuclear weapons. So did Obama. So did Hillary Clinton when she was running for president. So did President Joe Biden and also Trump himself.
You cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. You cannot let it happen because Bad things will happen if that happens. But everybody stopped. They were ready to make a deal. We would have made a deal that was great for everybody. No nuclear weapons. You can't give them nuclear weapons. Now they're going to have a nuclear weapon. Don't let Iran have nuclear weapons. That's my only thing I have to tell you today. Don't let them have it. They would have never had them, including Iran. They can't have a nuclear weapon. That's all. They can't have nuclear weapons. It's too destructive, too powerful. They can't have it. But I wanted to make a deal with them. No nuclear weapons. You can't have nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons are the single greatest threat to this world, to the whole world. And Viktor Orban understands that, and some others do too. I just don't want him to have a nuclear weapon.
Over the years, Iran has not slowed. They have not stopped their pursuit of nuclear weapons. Israel and probably America have been acting covertly over the years to thwart them in doing so and have been very successful in several instances, throwing back Iran's nuclear program years, probably decades in some cases. But in recent days, Iran has gotten much closer to actually producing a bomb. They enriched uranium up to 60%. That was verified. American assessments said that they were several weeks away from actually putting that uranium into an actual bomb, from finishing the enrichment process and putting it into a bomb itself. Trump opened negotiations with Iran. He was hoping to do this diplomatically, and he said, look, you have 60 days to do this. You have 60 days to back off your nuclear ambitions and to prove to us that that will continue. If not, there will be consequences. And guess what? President Trump is a man of his word. Thank God. On the 61st day, Israel attacked Iran. As we've been talking about here on the channel, Israel actually followed through on Trump's threat with, as we've come to see, with Trump's full blessing behind the scenes. And according to Israeli officials in recent days, at America's request, Israel paved the way for the American B-2 bombers by clearing out requested threats in the bombers' flight path in Iran. They set the stage for the bombing attacks that just happened over this last weekend. And then on Saturday, a group of B-2 bombers took off from the base in Missouri and headed to Guam. Everyone thought they were going to strike Iran, but America had a different story to tell. I'll play the video from the press conference at the Pentagon because they explain it way better than I could.
At midnight Friday into Saturday morning, a large B-2 strike package comprised of bombers launched from the continental United States. As part of a plan to maintain tactical surprise, part of the package proceeded to the west and into the Pacific as a decoy, a deception effort known only to an extremely small number of planners and key leaders here in Washington and in Tampa. The main strike package, comprised of 7 B-2 Spirit bombers, each with 2 crew members, proceeded quietly to the east with minimal communications. Throughout the 18-hour flight into the target area, the aircraft completed multiple in-flight refuelings. Once over land, the B-2s linked up with escort and support aircraft in a complex, tightly timed maneuver requiring exact synchronization across multiple platforms in a narrow piece of airspace, all done with minimal communications. This type of integration is exactly what our joint force does better than anyone else in the world. At approximately 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time last night, and just prior to the strike package entering Iran, a U.S. submarine in the Central Command Area of Responsibility launched more than 24 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles against key surface infrastructure targets at Isfahan. As the Operation Midnight Hammer strike package entered Iranian airspace, the U.S. employed several deception tactics, including decoys, as the 4th and 5th generation aircraft pushed out in front of the strike package at high altitude and high speed, sweeping in front of the package for enemy fighters and surface-to-air missile threats. As the strike package approached Fordow and Natanz, the U.S. protection package employed high-speed suppression weapons to ensure safe passage of the strike package, with fighter assets employing preemptive suppressing fires against any potential Iranian surface-to-air threats. We are currently unaware of any shots fired at the U.S. strike package on the way in. At approximately 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2:10 a.m. Iran time, the lead B-2 dropped 2 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator weapons on the first of several aim points at Fordow. As the president stated last night, the remaining bombers then hit their targets as well, with a total of 14 MOPs dropped against 2 nuclear target areas. All 3 Iranian nuclear infrastructure targets were struck between 6:40 p.m. and 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Following weapons release, the Midnight Hammer strike package exited Iranian airspace and the package began its return home. We are unaware of any shots fired at the package on the way out. Iran's fighters did not fly, and it appears that Iran's surface-to-air missile systems did not see us.
And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
After the strike, there were reports that Iran had possibly moved a lot of uranium from Fordow a few days before to somewhere else. There were photos of a convoy of trucks moving something out of the facility. But Marco Rubio said that he highly doubts that they moved a lot. In a minute, we're going to get into where this goes from here. What happens if Iran did actually move that uranium, the fallout, is this leading to a broader war across the Middle East, maybe even the world, and the attack that's currently happening on American bases. But first, you probably have investments in the American stock market, but did you know that you can diversify and invest some money in Israel as well? We're not talking about investing in a specific company or risky venture. This is investing in the overall success of the state of Israel through Israeli stocks and bonds, just like you would in America. Our sponsor and friends over at Wise Money Israel are American Israelis who know both the American and Israeli stock markets. They offer the same professional management and standards you'd expect from any U.S. investment firm. I've actually been a client of Wise Money Israel for years, allowing me to diversify my investments to also include the Israeli stock market. This is not only a blessing for me, but it is also a blessing for the state of Israel, something I firmly believe is the right thing to do as believers. Click the link in the description down below or visit wisemoneyisrael.com/the Israel Guys for a free consultation today. That's wisemoneyisrael.com/the Israel Guys. So where is all of this heading? We still don't have confirmation on how successful the American attack was yet. We have satellite imagery that's showing there was a lot of devastation on all 3 nuclear sites. There was a statement from Amit Segal, the chief political analyst for Israel's Channel 12 News. He said,
אני עכשיו הולך להגיד משהו טיפה שונה ממה שאומר אותו מקור לנו. הוא אמר שבפורדו זה נסדוק קשות אבל לא נהרס. אז רוצה להגיד לכם מה הערכה בישראל נכון לעכשיו. קודם כל, נתנז הושמד לחלוטין. לגבי פורדו ואיספהאן מחכים לאישורים נוספים. לא כי יש איזה חשש שמשהו שם לא עבד, אלא פשוט זה לוקח יותר זמן מטבע הדברים, שניהם אתרים שנמצאים עמוק מתחת לאדמה. עכשיו הדבר הדרמטי והחשוב, והוא השאלה אם תוכנית הגרעין האיראנית הלכה רק כמה שנים אחורה, או פשוט נמחקה מעל פני האדמה. וזה קשור לשאלה איפה נמצא האורניום המועשר. אותו אורניום שמועשר ברמה של 60%, לאיראנים יש עכשיו קושי אדיר להעלות אותו לרמה של 90% וקצת, מה שנדרש כדי להיות חומר שמתאים לפצצה. בישראל סבורים שהאורניום המועשר היה בנתנז ואיספהאן, ורובו המכריע, אם לא כולו, לא הוברח מהאתרים, ולכן היה שם בזמן התקיפה.
So he is addressing the claim that Iran was able to move out a lot of the enriched uranium. He said that Israel thinks that they weren't actually able to move out a lot of that uranium, that it was there when America bombed those bases on Saturday. And even if Iran was able to move that enriched uranium out, I don't really know what they would do with it at this point. It's not like they have the reactors to continue to enrich it further, unless Iran has some base that no one actually knows about, some nuclear enriching facility that nobody has a clue exists. There are speculations that Iran could turn it into some kind of dirty bomb. Thankfully, as far as from what I've heard, uranium enriched up to 60% is not terribly effective at turning into any kind of a dirty bomb. Probably could be used for some damage, but nothing too terrible. A lot of people in America are really concerned, and rightly so, I would say, about the possibility of us getting sucked into a massive regime-building operation in Iran, like we've done in the Middle East before, or the other possibility, or it's, I guess, a kind of an and/or, of getting massive blowback militarily from Iran. Two different issues here that a lot of people are concerned about, and I'd like to address both of those. First, I think the Trump administration has proven themselves with the whole regime building thing. Trump has been very clear. That's not a doctrine he believes in. A lot of the guys in the Pentagon right now have been very clear. It's not doctrine that they believe in. They say that it is against America's interest. It doesn't really accomplish our interest in the world. It's a massive black hole to suck the American military and American economy into. And they also have been very clear that they have no intentions in this regard with Iran. Trump just posted this on Truth Social. He said, it's not politically correct to use the term regime change. But if the current Iranian regime is unable to make make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? That said, I do not think we are going to get involved in a regime change. And I, for one, don't think we will put troops on the ground in Iran. Even if the Ayatollahs were to be completely toppled with what Israel and America are doing right now, even though that kind of seems unlikely at this point, I think it's very clear that neither Israel nor America want to do any kind of a regime rebuild in Iran. I think the Iranian people are more than capable of doing that on their own. And to answer to, I see this all over right now. A lot of people are saying that every time the West topples a regime in the world, a worst regime takes their place. That's moral stupidity. If there were a gang in a house living across the street from your family, and that gang threatened to kill you, tried to kill your family, and then pointed a tank at your house, you have the moral prerogative to neutralize that threat, no matter what it takes. You can't sit in your home and say, well, I won't neutralize the threat because a worse threat may rise to take its place in the future. No, your life is under threat. The lives of your family are under threat, and you have a moral prerogative to neutralize that threat. And then if a greater danger arises in the future, then you address that danger. But when you're in fear, when the lives of your family are at stake, you have to address that threat. It's moral stupidity to say, oh, well, I'll let evil alone because future evil may be worse, may arise, take its place, and be worse. That's moral stupidity, in my opinion. As to the other side of this equation, as to how bad the Iranian response will be against America, we have two possible big threats, I guess you could say. One is terrorism here in the United States. Iran probably has sleeper cells all over the United States that could be activated to do some terrorist attacks here. That is a very real threat. And I think America is taking that seriously across, the DHS. I think this week issued a statement saying that they are prepared if anything were to happen, God forbid. I think police departments across America are on standby in case any of this kind of thing were to happen. The other threat is if Iran were to fire at American military bases across the Middle East. There's this kind of fear, this mass panic that Iran may just kind of declare full war on our military bases across the Middle East. I don't personally get the panic on this. I've been saying this for quite some time. Iran's been threatening to rain hellfire on Israel now for a long time. And the worst that they can do is launch a few dozen missiles at Israel that Israel mostly shoots down. At this point, they have no air defense. They have no air force really to speak of at all, a very small navy. And a lot of their missiles that they're launching are just kind of, being shot down, not landing where they want them to land. And the idea that they could bring, hellfire and brimstone to American military bases across the Middle East, it seems far-fetched to me at this point. I think Iran's been kind of, has been brought to their knees, really, over the last couple of weeks. Basically since October 2023, it's been one devastating blow for Iran after the other. And we've seen this actually be played out as we're speaking right now. Iran launched an attack against American military bases. I mean, this very attack that I'm talking about is literally happening in real time right now. I'm getting reports popping up on my computer that the Saudi Arabia activated their Air Force, put them on maximum alert. The UAE closed its airspace. Qatar closed their airspace. So did Bahrain. Trump convened the National Security Council to talk about or to assess the situation. And apparently, according to the reports that I'm seeing so far, and this is breaking news, so this may change, Iran launched 6 missiles. So 6 missiles towards Qatar, maybe a couple of drones towards Iraq. So devastating response, absolutely horrifying response from Iran. Initial reports are saying that maybe 1 or 2 of the missiles actually touched down in Qatar, but no one was killed or injured. There was a report that just came out from an Iranian official. He said that Tehran coordinated the attack with the United States and Qatar to minimize the damage. Iran needs the ability to respond symbolically, but allow the U.S. to get out of it. The sources noted that this is a similar pattern of action to Iran's revenge, a response for the assassination of Soleimani back in 2020. They basically did the same thing. They told America, we're ticked. We'd love to respond, but we don't want to get dragged into a huge war with you. Let us kind of symbolically respond by firing a few missiles. We won't hit anything, and then we can say we did our response, and then we'll just call it quits here. And America said, sure, let's do that. So that seems to be kind of what's happened here, according to reports. I personally think this is it. I think Iran has no more fight left in them. I think Iran sees its absolute foolishness to go up against the might of the United States and the combined might of the United States and Israel. Israel has humbled Iran over the last couple of years again and again, and America striking their nuclear facilities kind of took out their last hope for survival, or not really for survival, their last hope for dominance in the Middle East. And we'll have to see where things go from here. This is an unfolding story happening as we speak, but I think that this is it. God willing, this is it. God willing, Iran winds down, and maybe, just maybe, the Iranian people can take their fate in their own hands and do something better with their future than what they have right now. Maybe they can take advantage of this situation and do something better, but that, I think, is in their hands, not in our hands as America or as Israel. We did the right thing. Israel did the right thing. And what happens from here remains in their hands. Guys, thanks for tuning in here at The Israel Guys. Please go over to wisemoneyisrael.com/The Israel Guys to check out to see how you can invest in the Israeli economy like you would in the American economy to diversify if that's something you're interested in. Leave us a comment underneath with your questions, remarks, whatever. We love hearing from you. Please, if you enjoyed this broadcast, share it with whoever you will. Give it a like. And again, thanks for watching.